I'm going to say just a word about the tools that I use. I know we're going to have a tool session in a little while, and then we're going to go take a whack at one of these trees out here. So let me start by talking about saws. There's basically two ways that a saw is made. This is a traditional European American style saw. It's been made in Chico, in which the teeth, so there's teeth there, every other tooth is bent to one side or the other. It's called the set to the teeth. So they're bent to the left, bent to the right, bent to the left, and the cutting edge is one edge on the tip of the tooth. The advantage of having those teeth bent out that way is you're making a slot, you're making a curve that's wider than the thickness of the saw. So there's less friction as you're moving the saw back and forth. Now there's an alternative way to make a saw, which is called a tri-bevel saw. There's no set to the teeth. The thing is completely flat, and each tooth is ground with 3 bevels on it. It has 3 cutting edges. And this is a style that originated in Japan. It makes a beautiful glass smooth cut, very nice smooth cut. This is a cheap Corona. I got it at Ace Hardware for 25 bucks or something. There's a brand called Silky that costs like $150. Looks just like this. It's got a hollow ground blade. It's made out of really special steel. And if you're pruning the olive trees at the Imperial Palace, you probably want to have a Silky saw. For the rest of us, like little Corona is suitable. Saw on a stick. It's just a little handmade handle here, but I have other pole saws that go up to, 16 feet or more. Just so you can reach. So this brings me to another point. No ladders. Okay, you don't want to be using ladders in your olive grove. Those ladders and olive trees should not be part of the same program. The problem with ladders are several. First is they're dangerous. People fall off ladders and injure themselves quite a bit. But secondly, they're really inefficient use of your time. You set up the ladder, you climb up there, you've got access to about 5 feet. Okay, now you've got to take it down, get down, move the ladder over here, now you've got access to another 5 feet. Not just for pruning, but also for harvesting. And then the third thing with ladders, if you're using them for pruning, if you get up the ladder and you cut something off, you cut off a branch at say 15 feet, it's going to go shooting right back up to 23 feet, 24 feet. You don't want to prune stuff where you want it to be. You want to prune 6 feet below where you want it to be, because the shoot that's going to come out is going to grow upward. And so if you're pruning standing on the ground, that's probably a good height at which to be pruning. So I don't use ladders in my grow. I don't use them for pruning. I don't use them for harvesting. And I have a bunch of ladders. I started out using ladders. I decided it was a bad idea. And
also, if you have employees, contact your broker, because it's off the charts if you're using ladders.
Yeah. In fact, even if you go from a 7-foot ladder to an 8-foot ladder, it's going to increase your workers' comp by a noticeable amount. So in addition to chainsaw, okay, I use a chainsaw on, if it's wood that's like 4 inches or bigger. If I'm cutting up trees for firewood or something, I use a chainsaw, and I use a handheld chainsaw. I also have a chainsaw on the end of a telescoping pole, so I can go up to 14 feet or something like that. Chainsaw makes a lot of noise. It makes a more ragged cut, even with a brand new chain, than a handsaw does. So I just use it for the big stuff. Let me talk for a second about loppers. You need 2 sets of loppers. You need one with 36-inch handles. These long handles that give you a lot of good leverage, and they make you tall. Okay, now you're 9 feet tall. Susan 8 feet. And so this is great. You get in there, you can cut off 1.5 to 2-inch branches. Olive trees that's a fairly soft wood. You can cut it quite nicely with these. But if you try to get into the interior of the tree, like you're working in close, they're too big. They're awkward. They're kind of in the way. So then you want your second pair of loppers, which are like little short guys like this. If you're working in close, these are great for in the interior of the tree. There's a lot of interior work you could do with just hand pruners. These are Philco number 2, which is kind of the standard of the industry. The problem with these is that you're just using the muscle in your hand. Okay? At the end of 8 hours, you're going to be worn out. Whereas if you were using these little short loppers, you're using a band of muscle that runs all the way across here down here. You can do that all day long. You won't be tired. Okay? So just from that aspect, it's probably preferable to use 2 sets of loppers rather than loppers plus the little hand pruners. So the loppers, there's the broader blade is the cutting blade, and it has a flat side and it has a beveled side. And you want to sharpen the beveled side. If you sharpen the flat side, you basically ruin the tool. Might as well throw it away. So you want to sharpen the beveled side. And I just use a coarse stone. This is a sharpening stone. And I'm going to, if it's already sharp to begin with, it doesn't take a whole lot to touch it up. I sharpen maybe 3 or 4 times a day when I'm pruning. Okay? It's not something you do at the beginning of the season and then you're fixed for the season. You should be doing this frequently, and it will give you cleaner cuts, and it will make your job easier. You will not have to use as much energy to do that pruning. I've seen on the internet photographs of a guy in Australia who prunes his trees with a thing like this, so I got myself one of these. I just hacked up. I couldn't make it work. But sometimes when you have like a horizontal limb that's been damaged and get a whole bunch of little shoots coming up, that almost looks like grass, you can actually come through here and just kind of cut it off with this thing, but mostly I do damage with it. So, I mean, there are people who have the knack, but I'm not one. Okay, so I haven't finished talking about loppers. I use this quite a bit too. I'm growing on really good soil in the Central Valley in a place where olive trees are very happy, and my trees grow a lot. I have to prune hard every year, and as part of not using loppers, not using ladders on my farm, if I got stuff that's just gotten away from me too high, and I can use this thing to prune, because the pulley has pretty good mechanical advantage, so I can cut off a 2-inch branch up high with that.